For more, let's bring in Shadow Minister for Families and Social Services, Linda Burney. Good morning to you and welcome to breakfast. You just heard the Treasurer there speaking about this new bankruptcy scheme. That would have to be a bit of a relief for a lot of people who had the option perhaps of either bailing out altogether. This might be the lifeline they need.
Well, hopefully it is. I'm not quite sure who the Treasurer's consulted with in terms of putting these measures in place. Labor hasn't had a chance to look at them closely yet, and of course we will. But the very real thing, Lisa, is of course today the government reintroduces the liquid assets test, and we know that this week the JobSeeker rate will drop by something like $300 a fortnight, and JobKeeper will also be reduced.
Yes, so for a single with no dependence on JobSeeker from tomorrow, that it's going to reduce to about $815 a fortnight, which is about $58 a day. I put that to the Treasurer, Linda Burney, just a short time ago, and he said, look, that's still a lot more than what it was, and in fact it's at a level that various groups were asking for before coronavirus.
Well, the simple fact is that the government's saying that there are going to be 400,000 additional people who will be unemployed by Christmas. And the social services groups and many others are saying that the reduction in the coronavirus supplement is going to mean some very difficult choices for people on JobSeeker. And I reject absolutely this notion that somehow or other the rate of JobSeeker is causing people to not seek employment. That is simply untrue.
But that is, can I just pull you up on that, sorry, Linda Burney, for a moment, because we've had the head of the Hotels Association in the ACT this morning. We've also had the Hotels Association in WA saying exactly that they have jobs available, they're struggling to get people to fill them, and they're putting it on the JobSeeker being too high to induce people back to work. Are you saying they're wrong?
I'm saying that I don't accept those arguments. The government has been very forthcoming in terms of painting people on JobSeeker as somehow, and some businesses, as somehow sitting back and accepting money and not pursuing jobs. I don't know anyone that's unemployed that does not want a job or doesn't want more hours in the work that's available. There are something like 1.5 million people who are on JobSeeker, and the rate of JobSeeker finally went from $40 a day up to what was less than the minimum wage. So people for the first time were living with some dignity. Now that money is going to be reduced dramatically at the end of this week, and it will mean people will go without food. It will mean that people will not be able to look after their children and get them to school as they'd like to. And quite often the decision is between medication and eating. That's how serious this can be, Lisa.
It was always going to be a temporary measure. How long do you think it needs to stay in place then?
Well, the Labor is arguing that now is not the time to reduce either the JobSeeker or the JobKeeper supplements. I don't have a time frame in my mind, but we do know that unemployment is going to increase. I mean, the simple fact is, and this is not made up figures, that in places like Sydney and Melbourne, there are 12 people unemployed on JobSeeker for every one job. And when you go to regional areas, it gets up to something like 25, 28 people on JobSeeker for every job. Now, the issues with fruit picking and so forth are complex, and you can't just simply make the equation that somehow or other people are choosing to be unemployed than pursuing work. That is just not the case.
Linda Burney, we're going to have to leave it there. Thanks for joining us.
Thank you.
You can see that breaking news strap along